Jared Kushner apparently in some degree of trouble here. He is not going to be able to access some of the top information that we have in the US government because there has been something wrong in his security clearance. So let me tell you the breaking news from today, and then I will fill in why that's the case, and then tell you about some of the White House drama that caused it. Jared Kushner, as the New York Times reports, the president's son-in-law and senior advisor has been stripped of his high-level security clearance after months of delays in completing an exhaustive background check, limiting his ability to view highly classified information. A White House official and another person familiar with Mr. Kushner's situation said. New York Times goes on to say that Mr. Kushner has had his top secret clearance reduced to secret, and his portfolio, specifically in regard to foreign affairs, is expected to be reduced as well. So that is very important news because he was in charge of huge swaths of American foreign policy, including peace in the Middle East. Good luck with that. And China, it's enormous chunks of our foreign policy. And now it's not clear whether he can do those jobs with the security clearance being lowered. So there's two different reasons why it was lowered. One is the official reason, that's true, and two is politics and drama. So let's do the first one first, the official reason. For that, we go to the Washington Post. Officials in at least 4 countries have privately discussed ways they can manipulate Jared Kushner, the president's son-in-law and senior advisor, by taking advantage of his complex business arrangements, financial difficulties, and lack of foreign experience. So these are people in the intelligence community talking to the Washington Post and saying, he doesn't know what he's doing. We have 4 different countries that say they'd love to take advantage of him and are working on it. Plus, he owes a lot of money to a lot of people. This is deeply problematic. Let me give you more details. Among those nations discussing ways to influence Kushner to their advantage were the United Arab Emirates, China, Israel, and Mexico, the current and former officials said. Obviously, very problematic. If you're in charge of dealing with Palestine and Israel's trying to find a way to take advantage of you, that could be a problem. Let alone the fact that we really want one of our top officials in the White House to be beholden to the United Arab Emirates. That's really what we want, or China. Okay, H.R. McMaster, President Trump's national security advisor, learned that Kushner had contacts with foreign officials that he did not coordinate through the National Security Council or officially report. And this is one of the things that troubled the intelligence officials and the National Security Administration, which is, wait a minute, why are you not reporting these contacts that you had with these foreign officials? Because if you're on the up and up, okay, look, you got troubles with debt and you got all these conflicts of interest, but at least tell us you're going to have the meeting. If you're not telling us you're going to have the meeting, that means it's something worse. So Kushner has repeatedly amended a form detailing his contacts with foreign persons. Not fully disclosing foreign contacts ordinarily would result in a clearance being denied, experts said. Now, of course, this is a preposterous situation where he's the son-in-law of the president. So normally any other person wouldn't have a security clearance brought down, he'd just be denied. No, you're not getting a security clearance given what you've been up to. And how many times you lied on your forms about who you met with and who you didn't meet with. One of them was a Russian official about banks, not having to do with collusion necessarily, but he's trying to get a loan from Qatar, from China, or have them buy his properties. One that's in deep trouble and up to his neck in debt. That's his family's property on 666 Fifth Avenue. And so, but he doesn't tell you that he met with a Russian banker or some of those other guys. That's what triggers the national security folks to go, wait a minute, that's deeply problematic. Okay, finally, officials in the White House were concerned that Kushner was, quote, naive and being tricked in conversations with foreign officials, some of whom said they wanted to deal only with Kushner directly. In other words, they tell Kushner, oh, you're so important, Jared. That's why we want to cut out all those other people that would muck up the deal here. Well, you and I should just meet and make a deal personally. And Jared would be like, oh, okay, I'm the important one. I'm gonna go have a secret meeting. And everybody else is like, oh, yeah. So he's both corrupt and an idiot. Look, I'm not the one who took down a security clearance. It was the Trump administration. So apparently they believe it's perfectly legitimate and it is a real issue. Okay, so now that brings us to the behind the scenes politics here. Mediaite reporting, as for Kushner, he feels that, and this was even before the security clearance was lowered, he feels John Kelly, the chief of staff, is at least somewhat responsible for his lack of a full security clearance. Kushner has been waiting more than a year to be cleared and thinks he's being slow-rolled by Kelly's cronies. That last part's a quote. Well, John Kelly and Kushner and Ivanka have been having a turf war inside the White House. Looks like Kushner just lost that war to some degree, but he'll be back. So Kelly said in a memo this month that he would limit the number of people operating in the White House without permanent clearances, and apparently he just did. So that's a strike against Kushner, apparently clearly from John Kelly, the chief of staff. Kelly reportedly said that the first daughter, Ivanka Trump, was, quote, playing government in a very high-stakes situation involving North Korea, a hostile nuclear-armed foreign power. That's when she went to the Olympics. Now, when I saw that quote in the press, I was surprised. I said, look, John Kelly might privately think that, but why is he letting people know and making fun of Ivanka Trump, like saying playing house or playing government? That's curious. It turns out I wasn't the only one that found that curious. A.B. Stoddard went on CNN and said this: the idea that this would leak means he's either trying to lose his job, that he's having these conversations with people that he knows will leak this, or he's being set up. And I would put nothing past this West Wing in terms of their Hunger Games. So there's a war going on inside the White House in the Oval Office, and Stoddard explains that Kelly's been trying to break Trump's reliance on Ivanka and Jared Kushner the whole time that he's been there, because he keeps asking his family for advice, but they don't know anything. All they know is, of course, their own financial dealings, but they have no expertise on almost any of these issues. But Stoddard says about Trump and his reliance on Ivanka and Jared, quote, it's impenetrable. He leans on them entirely, and I think that the chief of staff was willing to put up with that, and he can't take it anymore, and that means he's probably going to leave. So this play is not over yet. So Kushner is down, but he's not out, and at the end of the day, it might be John Kelly who leaves. Now, as part of those shenanigans, you then have a quote of a friend of Trump who talks to Vanity Fair and says, volunteers why he thinks Trump is not getting rid of John Kelly. He says because the president, quote, doesn't have the balls to fire Kelly. That's why. Now, you don't put that quote out there in the press unless you're trying to get John Kelly fired. So that's not a friend who called up and was like, oh, golly gee willikers, I think Trump is a coward. No, he's putting that quote out there, and whoever's doing it, so that Trump can go, what? John Kelly thinks I don't have the balls? Well, okay, then I'm going to fire him right away, right? And Trump has done that over and over again, and he's easily manipulated. So this round goes to John Kelly, but if I was him, I'd watch out for the uppercut, because it looks like it might be coming soon as well. You just watched a video by the Young Turks, home of the revolution. If you'd like to get a lot more than that, get the full show by becoming a member. tytnetwork.com/join.